We're going to start with a straight line. Bring your needle up from behind at the start of the line. You're then going to go right back in the same place or pretty close to it. Now I'm holding the thread under my thumb so that it doesn't disappear completely, and I can slow it down until I have just a bit of a loop left. I'm then going to come up about 1/4 of an inch, and as I do, I am catching that loop. I'm just going right through the center of the loop, catching the edge of it, and then as I pull, it will straighten itself out and ease into the length that it needs to be. Now I'm just going to repeat that process, again going in at approximately the same place that I came up from the fabric. Again, making sure I'm holding the thread so that I can be gentle with the loop. Another 1/4 of an inch away, and before I come all the way up, I'm catching that loop. I can certainly come up in my 1/4 of an inch well before. As a matter of fact, I can open up this loop and come up this way. It's just all in what is easier for you, but give it a try. Try a couple of different ways of holding the thread so that it doesn't get away from you, and see what works best for you. And I'm not pulling very hard, I'm just enough until that little loop settles where it needs to be. All right, let's finish out this line and then we'll do the circle. All right, I'm down to the end of the line, and I'm going to come up just as I have been, catch that loop. And now, to finish it off, I'm going to go back down, but instead of going back down within the loop as I have been before, I'm on the outside of the loop. So there's where I came up, and I am going down so that I create a tiny little stitch that holds the loop down. All right, let's work on a circle or a curved shape. So this is going to be the same idea. You're going to come up, go back down in about the same place that you started, still keeping a loop. Sometimes it gets a little twisty, just untwist it, or again, as you practice, you're going to find what is best for you as far as manipulating the loop. So I'm coming up again about 1/4 of an inch, pulling that loop into place, going back down. Again, I'm going back down inside the loop, and all I'm doing now is just following the line. So rather than coming out over here, which would be more of a straight line, I'm sticking to my little path. And that's all I'm going to do all the way around. Sometimes if you pull too tight, your loop might close up, so just go in, pull the loop up a little bit, and gently ease your tension just a bit. Now I'm getting to the end of my thread here, so I'm going to go ahead and act as if I'm finishing, even though I'm not, and just make that little stitch on the outside of the loop, hold it in place, finish off my thread, and then I'll start a new one. To start with a new strand of thread, by the way, I'm using 2 strands of embroidery floss. I'm just going to come right back up in the same spot that I had originally. So I'm inside of the loop. And then I'm going to go back down just as if I was creating a stitch anywhere along the way. You don't have to worry about the teeny tiny little stitch that was holding that last loop in place. No one will even see it. Getting even stitches is just a matter of practice. So the more that you do this stitch, the better you will get at making your little loops even. And by the way, when you're going around a curve, it's sometimes better to have shorter stitches than longer ones. The longer ones will look blockier, because imagine that they are little lines from point to point. So if you have shorter lines, shorter bits between, you'll get a smoother curve. And if you're working on a project where you go from a straight into a curve, then you can just slowly decrease the size of the stitches as you're getting close to the curve, make them small as you're going around the curve, and then lengthen them little by little back to your sort of standard for the length. Tighter curves will require smaller stitches, and broader curves you can stick to about the same length that you would use on a straight line. Now, as you come to closing up your circle or shape, you really want to plan out how it's going to work, because it has to sort of join up with this loop here. So I could fit 3, but I'm not sure I'm going to have enough thread for that, so we're just going to do 2. So I'm going halfway between. Now, to join up, I'm going to turn it around a little bit here. We already have the next loop, so we just need to take our needle and very carefully go underneath the 2 bars of our loop there, and then go back down in the previous loop we had made.